I wanted to talk to you guys about this. Zohran Mamdani did an interview with the Majority Report earlier this morning, where he talked about the Hakeem Jeffries stuff
and why he said don't vote for Chi.
In the conversation around, the question of primary challenges, and much of this I would say is typically private within DSA, but everything I've said has been reported publicly, so I might as well just speak about it to you directly. I went to the endorsement forum that was considering whether or not to endorse C in that primary challenge, and what I said there is that this is not a question of the ballot box of who you would rather vote for. This is a question of how you want to spend the next year. Do you want to spend the next year fulfilling the agenda at the heart of this movement, or do you want to spend it defending the caricatures of that movement? And the decision that I made, and the one that I shared with other members that night as they were considering how to participate in that democratic process, is to maximize every chance we have to fulfill the promises we made door after door, call after call, with many New Yorkers who had otherwise lost faith in politics years ago, so that we can tell them that success isn't just measured in the election we've already had, but also in our fulfillment of the agenda at the heart of that election.
And
I think that this...
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Well, I don't know. And I was just going to say that I don't ever presume that everyone will come to the same conclusion as me. I don't think that dissent or critique is something that I'm above in sharing these decisions, but they do come from this as my framework, and I think it's honestly helpful to be able to share it with people.
No, I appreciate that, and I'm just eager to ask you these things because we have you for such a limited time. Really, is it your kind of belief basically that delivering on your agenda in terms of the macro constituency that Sam was just speaking about is the best way to kind of show how the movement can expand and have more politicians like yourself across the country run in that way? And I would imagine that was motivating you and what you said to DSA. And
do you believe it?
Believe what?
Is it valid? What are your takes on it?
I don't get into this stuff.
Oh,
DSA,
you're anti-electoralist.
No, I just mean I don't talk about. I don't know if anyone needs my opinion on intra-DSA conflict.
You're the real revolutionary.
No, I don't think anyone cares, or I don't even care about my opinion on this kind of thing. That's me. I have some friends who heard him speak at the DSA thing.
What do they think?
And I think that, people are turning this into like, oh, he doesn't want, this is what I've heard, is like, people are viewing it as he like doesn't want Jeffries gone or whatever. And it seemed to be more about like, does DSA commit the resources to this one race in which they're going to be likely outspent many times over, or do they use their resources differently? I mean, Jeffries is popular in his, in his capacity as an elected official.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, that's that seems to be the debate, as opposed to like Zohran thinks Jeffries is doing a good job or whatever, and shouldn't be kicked out.
I mean, and I would also emphasize too that like I like Chi, and like I think people should primary, like I think like should Hakeem Jeffries be primaried, and should people like be constantly levying like challenges against the Democratic Party leadership? My answer is yes. I also I get the DSA argument. I also think in like Zohran's case, he has like a particular needle to thread with like, there's a world where next year Hakeem Jeffries becomes Speaker of the House, and he's like not easily, if like almost certainly not possibly dislodged in a primary process at this moment. And if Zohran wants to do stuff, and he's like trying to also court Hochul and do this like deliver stuff, a deliver agenda in the next year, then again, like I see that argument.
Could you go up a little bit to someone who was just, they responded? It's a red chatter, a little bit up. There you go. Yeah, I'm just want to read it.
Brandon, I read the Socialist Majority Caucus argument against endorsing USA and thought it was bad. I read Groundwork Caucus's rebuttal, and I agree with their assessment.
I don't care. This is what I said. I don't know anything about this stuff.
Yeah, I don't care. I hesitate to weigh in on like this, like the shit. Like I said this yesterday. Like I understand the arguments, and that's like kind of as far as I feel like I can go.
I just think that no matter what, Hakeem Jeffries is going to be a significant hurdle against Zohran Mamdani's agenda, and anyone that thinks that is not going to be the case is wrong. And I think that primarying, or at least trying to primary every candidate, no matter how powerful they are within the Democratic Party infrastructure, is a good thing ultimately. Because at worst, I don't think you're going to cut away at the momentum of like the left flank candidacies in general, but you will end up forcing people to at least concede to some left framing on issues out of fear that they might lose their seat. How genuine they will be on following through on those promises is a whole different story.
Yeah.
But my position always was like, I don't think Zohran Mamdani should have come out instantly and been like, don't do this, and then petitioned against it.
That's why I think that
rather than just like keeping quiet and seeing whichever way the winds blow, and then seeing if it's like seeing if this would have been a successful candidacy or not.
This is part of why like his pitch about the DSA thing, like it makes sense in terms of like limited capacity. But I think the thing that the part of his logic that he himself seems to believe is relevant would be the piece of it about that it would be damaging to his ability to get things done, because I think that's the only like straight up and immediate reason for why he even got ahead of Chi throwing his hat in the race. And that's the piece of logic that I like perhaps understand the least, and is also like essentially a politician doing a trust me bet to his left flank. And that's naturally a pretty uncomfortable position to be in.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess this insurgency versus more diplomatic approach. Wait, what? No, there is no diplomatic approach with these guys. There is no. They will never actually reward you for that. That's what I think. No
I
matter
agree that
what.
like Jeffries is only going to do like whatever is like part of this agenda if he's like forced or pushed into it. It's like
there is literally a reason why he had to. He conceded at the very last moment in terms of like endorsing Zohran Mamdani, and he did it so quietly and in this like sheepish way that pissed off every single person. DSA has been in your chat for days calling Chi a Yimby opportunist. Yeah, I know. I keep hearing that. I don't really care about that stuff.
Don't care.
Don't care about that.
My platform has won out.
Yeah. No,
I mean, it is like, it's just like, oh, like here's all this like shit that I don't care about.
I mean, I'm not trying to be glib. I really don't like, and what I was summarizing before, that's what I was hearing from other people about the position that Mamdani took in the meeting. That's, I don't really have any kind of read on it.
I also think like it does behoove people. Like it's similar to, it reminded me a little bit of like, and this may seem like a little bit goofy of a comparison, but like in the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk shooting, everybody had a opinion, and like facts were not in yet, and there just wasn't a lot of stuff that was known yet, and like the dude's not even been in the office yet. And I get that like it's of course like there are actual actions to respond here to, like Zohran lobbying against Chi throwing his hat in the race, but there is to me like a degree to which the volume and intensity of the discussion online about this stuff just does not match up with the fact that, again, he's not in power yet.
I can feel myself rolling my eyes at myself for saying this, because it sounds so like I don't know, I'm getting old.
Yeah.
Before my time. But even with the Mamdani Trump meeting, like everyone kind of came out and they were like, Mamdani walked him like a dog, and then other people were like, oh, he's a fascist now or whatever. I mean, I just kind of don't think a ton is established yet just because the meeting happened. You can have a take, I guess, but I'm more curious about what happens now that this is something that is, a public event that occurred, and what they'll actually do and how they'll, do this dance with each other.
You're missing, as Jakob's greatest soldier is spitting game right now.
Oh, he gone.
A vanguard party. I want to see how many times I could get us on the deflate. Clearly, he gives up running defense for his favorite Democrat personalities when he's confronted by someone that questions his aesthetics. A vanguard party is probably not the
very
best.
nice.
Aesthetics.
A vanguard party is probably not the best for the United States at the current moment.
Okay.
There's a severe lack of class consciousness among the working class. Agreed.
Sure.
And that must be cultivated before it can be meaningfully organized. Agreed. Recognizing that and the revisionist nature of existing American socialist parties, the Greens are a good alternative that isn't explicitly capitalist like the Democratic Party.
Sure.
He wants to funnel the revolutionary sentiment in the direction of Greens.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's what I was trying to say earlier.
Yeah. there is not effect in letting a capitalist party co-opt the very meager amount of radical sentiment is existing.
Meager, that's a good word for this particular point of view.
Is in non-existent. Please do better than copy your favorite personalized behavior when met with meaningful criticism. There are multiple leftists that have criticized him in the chat. I am not the only one, and I do not think I'm more deserving of this attention. I just want him to be at least at least drop the radical aesthetics if he wants to be a
drop
Democrat.
the radical aesthetics so you can
What are
support
the
the Green Party.
Yeah, what are the radical
The
aesthetics?
Green Party, you know, the font of American political radicalism.
But also,
the Green Party.
but also, what are the radical aesthetics I have? Like, what do you mean? You are calling me a lib. There are plenty of Marxist-Leninists out there with hammer and sickle in their Twitter bios that also call me a lib. You claim to be a socialist. Okay, there's socialists of many different varying flavors. Okay, maybe I'm the liberal kind. I mean, that's it. Okay, there you go. You're calling me a liberal anyway. Am I a radical? Am I danger?
I could never do this.
No, you would like die. It would, and you would get bored. I think you would like.
I'm not bored being here with you. I'm just bored of
these.
I do not claim the Greens to be a radical party. I claim that it is non-capitalist party that may be an effective tool. Okay.
Oh, got it.
Well,
Roger.
that fires out, folks.
Yeah.
Maybe an effective tool. Good.
Yeah.
We'll evaluate the size of the school bus we can fit into that maybe.
I love that at least he's attempting to offer an alternative, which immediately shows.
I mean, that's a lot better than like the people who are just that like, oh, well, actually, what I want you to do, Mr. Amerifat, is listen closely. Lay down on the road in front of a bus and die. Like,
this is the very rare moment where someone will actually present their alternative, and it then shows how silly the alternative actually looks like as well. In most circumstances, people basically will say, I'm adopting radical aesthetics, but simultaneously they themselves are like, they have no demands whatsoever. Their demand is just do not participate in electoralism, no matter what you do.
I'm just confused by the 69th International thing, if that's a pivot to a joke.
I think it's a little joke.
I just don't think you should support the Dems to placate people. I don't support the Democrats to placate people. I support running left flank candidates in the Democratic Party because of the thing that you also admitted right here, where there is no like self-described socialism that amounts to any significant movement in this country. And as long as there is a viable electoral mechanism that gets the word out there, it's one attempt. I don't think it's the most successful attempt, but it's just one that we have at our disposal. This is where the masses are. So you have to go where the masses are. If the masses are self-described liberals that consider themselves to be in the Democratic Party orientation of liberalism, you have to go to where they're at and work amongst them. Work within the confines of their understanding. It is what it is. That's it. It's not to say that like the Democratic Party is magically going to no longer be like a bourgeois liberal party that defends capitalism. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that I look to the successes of Bernie Sanders' failed primary run in 2016 in terms of like creating more self-identifying socialists, and I want to replicate that to the best of my ability. That's it. I'm pretty open about that. If that's going to be ultimately successful, who knows? It's just what my methods are. You might disagree with them, but in the absence of any viable alternative, that's what we got.
The Ross Barkan article that in New York Mag that a few people have linked to is worth reading. Zohran was Ross Barkan's campaign manager when Ross Barkan ran for elected office, and it's like I believe that Ross Barkan's account of Zohran's logic is probably like an accurate representation of what Team Zohran is thinking, whether you agree with it or not. So I think it's worth reading that article to get the straight dope there.
As mayor-elect, one of Zohran Mamdani's first acts is to squelch an insurgent leftist political campaign. If this, like Mamdani's chummy meeting with Donald Trump, was obviously jarring, it carried a certain logic. He had been open about the fact that he did not want Chiose, a popular leftist 27-year-old city council member, to undertake a primary challenge against House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries next year. To make his point subtly, he had disinvited Ose from his victory party. Then, to make it more bluntly, he showed up at a meeting of the Democratic Socialists of America and told everybody not to endorse Ose. Ultimately, DSA listened to its mayor. Why has Mamdani been acting this way? Why does he seem to be forsaking another young leftist who is attempting in some form to do exactly what Mamdani just did? Shock the world by defeating a heavily favored creature of the Democratic establishment. And it is because he's worried about, having the wind of socialism knocked out of its sails before it actually takes root.
And Barkan makes the specific comparison or the specific link that that like essentially Hochul does not want Jeffries primaried, and that there is a certain amount of placating her specifically that is a part of like trying to get pieces of his agenda through.
But I that's the major tactical decision that I vehemently disagree with, because the DSA is inevitably going to endorse a challenger to Kathy Hochul, at which point Zohran is going to do what? Well, that's my governor. She's offering me funds, so I have to defend her. Or is he going to go for, is he going to go for the kill shot? And even with that kill shot, I think like a primary challenger for Kathy Hochul will keep her more pliant with Zohran Mamdani's agenda anyway, in an effort to ensure that she does not get challenged. I mean, you're seeing that already with her going back and forth on whether or not she will turn around and add an additional tax to the super wealthy in New York City, right? Something only she can do at New York State, right?
I mean, I agree. Like, I think it's to me, this is part of why I don't like weighing in, because it's just like the facts are that like he's making a bet. I don't like Hakeem Jeffries. I don't like Kathy Hochul. I'm also not the mayor. I don't have to be in the position. Like to me, it's a bet. It's a hard one to swallow, and I'm not sure I would, but that's the logic.
Yeah, my point is, downside is easy. Hochul and Jeffries are close allies. Zohran needs Hochul to get childcare and free buses done. That's politics. I just don't think that she's going to do that. Whether Zohran,
a lot of people I respect agree with you on that. That Hochul is not trustworthy. That she will not bow to pressure in the end, and that a lot of this is like a bit of a delay game, so that she can essentially buy time and goodwill before she can essentially play the same role.
Yeah, I mean, again, these guys only respond to pressure. Like, they respond to either a fear that they will be unseated, or they get unseated, and you put a person in power that will do the job.
And in the case of Hochul, there's also like a lot of anxiety about the fact that, okay, the last time we had this centrist Democratic governor who, and there was like a wellspring of, support for progressive policies, that governor, in concert with the Independent Democratic Caucus, a special group within the New York State legislature that helped block anything good in concert with Cuomo for years, like, there was this centrist governor who was like the fly in the ointment. And so I think it just comes down to Zohran says, this is how you preempt that. You win flies, I guess, with honey, suppose, but I don't know, or whatever the metaphor is. Point though,
honey.
Yeah, I think so. It's not.
It's my contribution.
Yeah. I just don't.
Then with vinegar.
And then with vinegar. That was the polarity I couldn't figure out there. Look, I'm skeptical that Hochul will bend, in our direction on this.
Yeah.
And I like Chi.
2, does that mean that you're ruling out supporting primary challenges broadly throughout the city?
No, that I've made no sweeping decision on something at like a larger level as that. And to your first question, I think often about what Bernie said at our rally, which was that what our opponents in the campaign feared the most was the power of example. And that example is not of just winning the election. That's the example of delivering a rent freeze, of fast and free buses, of universal childcare, because those are things you can hold on to. Those are things that you can actually feel and see in your life. And so much of politics is this game of translation where a politician says something and then you have to jump through 10 hoops to understand how it relates to you, or if you're eligible, or if you hit the threshold. And these are not things that require that kind of a translation. These are things that are direct to our lives. And I think that it's, I remember when I was running for assembly, a friend of mine, Kara McCurdy, who's an incredible photographer who works on our campaign, I gave her the palm card that we had just designed with Anish, who actually created the logo for this mayoral campaign. And I thought it was the best palm card we'd ever made. And she looked at it and she said, "What do these words mean?" And we were just using a language that speaks only to a very specific set of people. And I think it just comes back to that you need to speak directly to people, you need to speak about policies that are also direct to their lives, and it all needs to be without translation. And so to me, once we succeed in the fulfillment of any part of this agenda, it becomes an example of why New Yorkers made the right decision to believe that politics could be more than this, as opposed to that they were wrong to have hope again.
I don't want.
And
Please give bro a better mic. Yeah, I mean, it's leftist audio. It's leftist video, leftist audio. It's dog shit. That's how you know it's real. Net agreement with socialism, 18 to 24 plus 31%, 25 to 44 plus 22%. That's actually crazy numbers, I think. 25 to 44.
Sorry, -3, only -3 for 45 to 64. That's crazy.
Yeah. Democrats with a plus 28%. Republicans at only -6%. Republicans are more favorable towards socialism than independence?
It's all generational in this country, man. It's also so segmented by age. It's so insane.
What the fuck?
No, it's not agree.
Yeah, no, but the point is that like if Republicans only are like -6% on it, like that's nuts. But you also see how it's like at the like where like it gets like the disapproval of socialism appears is like in the age. It's like it's just age.
Yeah,
like
sure.
These old heads.
Yeah, ACP was right. MAGA communism is real.
Communism is I think it's because socialism. I mean, look, this just gets to like how in America and in most Western countries, elections come down to new thing or old choice, and socialism has the benefit of being like a perpetual thing on the horizon in American politics, never an actual existing part of our fabric or establishment. So to me, it's like, yeah, like a lot of people of younger generations probably hear like socialism and it's presented as simple as an alternative, and maybe they can find a way to like, whip it or warp it into somehow being a conservative thing, or patriotic socialism, as some tried.
Socialism is commonly defined as a social and economic system that calls for public rather than private ownership or control of property and natural resources. Generally speaking, do you agree or disagree with the principles of socialism? 42% of Americans polled say they agree. 39% of Americans polled say disagree. This isn't happening because like there's people who are being organized at the assembly line or finding themselves in the throes of like Marxist-Leninist text. This is happening because people look around and they're like, this shit sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it sucks so bad. I'm willing to take a shot in the dark at this like scary other version of governance that I've been told my whole life is bad and wrong. But because I do not trust the current people in power so much that maybe they were lying to me about this other thing being scary. That's how desperate people are getting. And the worse things get for people, the more welcoming they will be towards this other alternative.
Well, especially as things seem to get better and better in the parts of the world, or at least seem like they things seem stable in the parts of the world that do have this kind of self-declared kind of political, administration.
I think there's one additional cycle of like taking a shot in the dark at another reactionary force for these guys to snap out of it completely. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't disagree with that. I don't think that they're there. I think you can't. But it is. But there is like, it's definitely. I mean, there's certainly a lot. I mean, I think it's of a piece with how like so many of the MSNBC crowd are like at this stage, and certainly we're not 4 years ago, but definitely, or 5 years ago, but definitely are now like ready to see like the Supreme Court like essentially be abolished.
I cannot believe how close this is. Do you agree with the principles of socialism?
Republican voters,
yes.
What's the firm though? What's this polling firm?
TIP.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Maybe they're saying but a national one.
Right. I mean, you got to get a little.
National socialism.
Socialism for whom?
Yeah. Instead of socialism in one country, how about socialism for one ethnic group?
Yes, it has been brought up before.